really trying to work on to make sure that we will not have. Why not Ghana? No, Ghana is a different case. But I've experienced a power thing in Ghana before. I will give you the details later. For now, we are here for our program, so we'll continue. We are also live. We're also streaming live on Women in Politics Forum YouTube channel. So you could also share the conversation for others who are not in this room to be able to join. If you look around the room, you look at our numbers, we are not many, but we are represented largely across the region. And if you look at the quality of people that we have brought together for the conversation, we prioritize that quality over quantity. And to be able to have other people to join the conversation virtually, we are streaming live. So once again, I want to say thank you to our Sierra Leoneans for hosting us, and also thank you for everyone that came across the region to be here. Thank you very much. So now we will be starting, and to start to kick off, I will be calling our lead convener, um, who has brought us all together here to have this conference. This conference is part of a series of programs that is happening not just here, but across its strategic partners across the West African region. And so to begin with the welcome remarks and the setting of the conference, I will be calling, I really want you to do really hands of applause for Barrister Ebere if you the president, women for the midterm.
My president. Okay. My president.
Hello, everyone, and good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Join faith to welcome us all to and the last time I was here as an election observant. I came with the Wadimos team. And at that trip, we met our dear sister, who then was in charge of WANEC. And today, we are meeting her again as the Honorable Minister of Gender and Children Affairs. When I said to her this morning, there's always a difference. No one is coming from the civil society background to take up a higher leadership position. You all will agree with me. She came very early. We were running around to see that we'll get started, and she was, no, let's wait for others to come. And this is because of her background as a civil society person. So it's also important for us to say that every opportunity we find ourselves, we should take up leadership and position so that we can chart the course and chart the way that things will, be done in a different way. A co-politician would have said, no. Besides, she would have come here with different aids. But she just walked in and she's seated here with us. Honorable Minister, I'm very grateful for the short notice we gave you, for honoring us, even though it was really a short notice, and for creating time to sit with us. You have so much, to tell us from your experiences as someone that was part of the election process and firsthand noticed the violence against women in elections. So we think there will be an opportunity for you to share your experiences with us and guide us. Can't thank you enough. We will not be here today without your support. We are very grateful. And also to the entire UN Women team. We are very grateful. Because without the UN Women team putting things together for us and saying we would have come in here stranded. So thank you very much. Before I start the main speech, honestly, I must appreciate Mr. Peter McMahon. He is my chairman. Yes. Paul Patrol, and I'm a very, the way you don't say it's my chairman. I said without apologies, my chairman. Yes. Mr. McMahon has been with us at the inception of Women in Politics Forum from the first conference where we initiated Women in Politics Forum. He came as a resource person. And from then till today, we've been working together. He's taking us through a lot of things. And he's giving us um, a reason to know that if you have a mentor, you can go places. And that's why if you visit Women in Politics Secretariat, you will find that our conference room is named after him. It's Peter McMenon Conference Room. We have a board member of Women in Politics with us, my Aluta sister, I call her. She's well known in the world, not just in Nigeria. Miss Ene Tubi. Thank you very much. Yes. So, on behalf of the Women in Politics Forum and our partners, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all warmly to the Women's Rights Review Conference here in the beautiful city of Freetown, Sierra Leone. They told us that everything is free in Sierra Leone, in Freetown. We are here to experience it. I don't know, maybe the rains are really free for us to enjoy. So, we don't know, Honorable Minister, is everything truly free in Freetown? We are here to explain it.
It's free.
Yes. We are deeply honored by your presence, and I thank each of you for choosing to be part of this important gathering that will shape the future of women's rights advocacy across our region. This conference is made possible as part of the ACT project funded by the UN Women and the European Union. This conference is both a reflection and a call to action. Across West Africa, this conference is both a reflection and a call to action across West Africa, with representation from Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Togo, and Sierra Leone. Progress has been made in putting in place policies to address violence against women and girls. Yet, despite these gains, the persistence of violence, weak enforcement of laws, and the lack of harmonized regional approaches continue to put millions of women and girls at risk. The findings from our recently concluded research will serve as our compass in this meeting, helping us identify what is working, what is missing, and where urgent attention is needed. I must tell you that violence against women and girls, just it's on the increase. As much as we work, to stop it, but for every day you will hear a different story. Every blessed day is either a woman. I mean, the one that's happening in Nigeria most recently is this idea of stripping young girls naked. It's very, very pathetic. For any little mistake, the right punishment, I think, from the point of the society, is to strip the girl naked. And I've never seen any picture or any video of a man being stripped naked, even when they commit very heinous crimes. So I don't know why this is happening. And for me, it's a no-no. We should stand up as a region in Africa to say we cannot tolerate or keep tolerating gender-based violence. So over the next 3 days, we will review policies, share best practices, and co-develop a regional advocacy strategy that places women's rights firmly at the center of decision-making. This strategy will not remain on paper. It will be designed to influence both national parliaments and the ECOWAS parliament with clear priorities, unified messages, and practical actions that we as a collective movement can take forward. Just as importantly, this conference is a platform for coalition building, bringing together established women's rights leaders and young feminists to forge an intergenerational movement that speaks with one voice across West Africa. And you see, within the hall, you will see our very young feminists. They are here because if we are going to hand over the baton, who are we handing over to? Have we mentored? Have we trained? And that's the reason they are here, to be part of us. We'll listen to them. We'll also get suggestions from them. They say they are the Gen Zs. And by the way, I'm also a Gen Z.
Yes.
As we begin, let us keep at the forefront of our minds that ending violence against women and girls is not just a women's issue. It's a human rights, development, and democracy issue. Most reason that we have our chairman here with us, who's been a strong supporter. We have Mr. Paul from Wadimos, taking our course from here, whatever we are going to, come up with Paul here with us, we are sure that it's going to go across the ECOWAS. And then Mr. Austin Ibe. Mr. Austin Ibe, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for believing in women. And thank you for all the support. I was going to say this last as my closing remarks, but it's important I mention it here. You are a backbone that will always be with your field. Our work here has the potential to shape laws, influence institutions, and transform lives. I invite each of you to engage openly, to share boldly, and to collaborate purposefully, so that when we leave Freetown, we do so with a renewed sense of commitment and with an actionable plan that will drive impact across our nations and regions. So once again, I welcome you all to Sierra Leone, and I declare the Women's Rights Review Conference officially open. Thank you so very much.
These people should ask more problems. We like to clap it up. Yeah. Yes, I wanted to call everybody to the people to heighten on them with go with our real. So right now, thank you very much for welcoming all of us. Thank you very much for welcoming all of us. I know that how many of us here are familiar with the women's anthem? Let me
We
see.
all are.
Yeah, familiar. So I don't want to assume some people may not be familiar with women's anthem, which is why we took our time to push it out. So we will be taking our women's anthem. It's an anthem that is sung across the world actually, and in Nigeria there's no activity that we do without singing the women's anthem. So I will be singing the women's anthem right now in women. I really do hope that we took our time to get familiarized. But if you don't know, don't worry. So those of us that can sing, we sing very well.
Yes.
So champion, I'm going to give the microphone to two. Yes, so projects to be reached because my face away.
Someone else. Are you listening? Something like what I want us to eat. Oh, never stuck on the speech. That's
Okay, please let's
answer. Okay.
And we see the slide that says our answer, whenever you read about it. Let's say the women's answer. Else that's one. It's funny, fun. Longing to be free. Yeah. No, that's not the start. Okay, can just leave it. Let's start. Let's sing it. Leave it. Let's sing it. Okay. 1, 2, go. All across the nation, all around the world, women are longing to be free. No longer in the shadows, forced to stay. Side by side into equality, to sing a song for women everywhere. Let's it ring around the world and every day let's listen, sing a song for women everywhere. Equality, development, and peace. Women can be silent when all around the world. People hot and hungry, children cry. We sing out loud for justice and development and hold the rights of other people high. So sing a song for women everywhere. Dancing around the world. Never cease to sing a song for women everywhere. Equality level, so women now are walking to build a better world. When you peace and rest on every shore. We are mending down their weapons and learn to love and share. And people want to bring an end to one. So sing a song for women and everyone. Nothing from the women. So sing a song for women and everyone. Equality is the
Yes, yes.
So I'm sure that we can see why we do this, why we sing it brings a lot of energy into the room. Do we all agree that it does? Do we agree that it does?
Yes, it does.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for singing with us. And thank you to all men that align with our cause and sing with us as well. So to continue into the program, I will just be quickly calling a few of us to the high table. Doesn't mean that the rest of us the rest of us who are sitting on the highest table, okay, is our own inner secret, but we'll just call a few people to the high table. I would like to call, I will call them up. Please let's clap, let's put our hands together as they come up. I would like to call the Honorable Minister of Gender and Children Affairs here in Sierra Leone, very Minister, Dr. Esata Nahoy. Please welcome, take a second to get a round. But I do hope I did more than the name. I hope I tried. You can call me later when you come up. Thank you very much. Would also like to call our UN Women partner here, representing the UN rep the office, UN Women office here in Sierra Leone, with program specialist Madam Beidu Masakoi. Who put a name so that I can cover the blood mass, the blood. Thank you, thank you. And I would also like to call someone that has been a supportive voice all these years, that has been instrumental in the formation of Women in Politics Forum and our growth for each part. Please welcome. I called him my chairman. I saw him somewhere. I was like, chairman. And people are saying, which chairman? I said, don't worry. This is the one that like that chairman. He knows the chairman. Please put together and hands together as I welcome Mr. Peter McMahon, who is currently the vice chairman of the International Democrats Union. We welcome them. Yes, and this will not be table will not be quite complete if I don't call like my madam, my own madam, my colors is my madam, and beyond being madam, people should clap very well so that maybe after this conference there'll be like salary review so that I can, be earning more. Please put together warmly, sign together for thank you, thank you. We go to places and they call her Dr. Iberi. I think they are prophesying the PhD into her life, and I always claim it for her. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And those of us that are on the highest table, please let's just put our hands together. But also putting thank you to those of us that are joining us on the live stream. We see you and we'll make you as involved as we can. So thank you very much. So right about now, I will be calling our honorable minister for her goodwill message. And I'll crave us to quite listen to what she has to say. Because when Barshabiri was introducing her, she said that she had met her before with TSO space and to see someone that has been able to come into a very powerful political seat and has also been instrumental in advancing women's and children's rights in the country. Please let's put our hands together very warmly as I welcome Dr. Aisata Mahoy, the Honorable Minister of Gender and Children Affairs. Ma, please call me. I want to know if I'm really doing well. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Amazing.
Thank you, Chairperson, our keynote speaker, Mr. Peter McMahon, representatives from the European Union, Head of Office Young Women, representative, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome you all to Sierra Leone. For those of you that are just coming here for the first time, please feel at home. I'm sure you've seen the lovely beach. This is just one of it. On behalf of the government of His Excellency, the President, Julius Maada Bio, President of Sierra Leone and ECOWAS Commission, I want to use this opportunity to heartily welcome the delegation from Nigeria, Ghana, and Togo, and where else? Liberia, and wish them a memorable stay in Sierra Leone. Moreover, I would like to express our sincere appreciation and gratitude to the organizers for hosting this groundbreaking event in Sierra Leone. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I feel gratified and honored to deliver a goodwill message. I'm not sure how many minutes I have, but please permit me to share some of the things we've done in Sierra Leone and also what are some of our challenges in terms of experiences that we are going through. I feel gratified and honored to deliver this good message here on this auspicious occasion that seek to review existing frameworks on violence against women and girls, identify gaps, and co-develop a regional advocacy strategy targeted at ECOWAS Parliament. As Minister Charge of Gender and Children's Affairs, I am particularly happy to share insights from my ministry's initiatives and reaffirms the government's commitment to advancing women's rights. As a country, we have acceded to a number of global, regional, and sub-regional frameworks with commitment to establish and strengthen legislative, policy, and institutional frameworks that will ensure gender equality and women's empowerment in social, economic, political, and cultural spheres. Through to such commitments and in line with prescriptions in global and regional frameworks, we have over the years adopted legislations, policies, and strategies that seek to ensure adequate protection of women and girls from sexual gender-based violence and advance women's rights, especially in political and economic spheres. The passage of the three gender justice laws, we call them the three gender justice laws because these are responsive legislations. And this happened in 2007, where we had the registration of Customary Marriage and Divorce Act, the Domestic Violence Act, and the Devolution of Estate Act, representing a major breakthrough in national efforts to strengthen women's human rights regime. The three legislations respectively addresses issues surrounding customary marriages and divorce, domestic violence, which was hitherto considered as private or family affair, and denial of inheritance rights, which women and girls were largely subjected to. Approximately 5 years following the passage of the three gender acts, the Sexual Offences Act of 2012 was passed. The act consolidates all existing legal provisions that relate to sexual violence and define clear penalties for perpetrators. In 2019, following some horrible incidents that were happening here, including a 5-year-old girl that was raped and murdered, the Sexual Offences Act of 2019 came into being. That's it. We repealed the 2012 Act, declaring national rape as a national emergency and sexual penetration of minors. The amendment was necessitated by the growing public outcry that the Sexual Offences Act of 2012 does not provide adequate punishment for perpetrators, especially for sexual penetration of minors. Sexual Offences Amendment Act of 2019 subsequently provides maximum penalty of life imprisonment for perpetrators of rape and sexual penetration of minors. In addition to the aforementioned SGBV-related legislations, the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act was passed in 2024. The Act prohibits marriages of all types of persons under age 18. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to further the implementation of legislations on violence against women and girls, a number of strategies have been adopted and initiatives prompted to prevent and respond to violence against women and girls. And these include the adoption of the National Male Involvement Strategy on Sexual Gender-Based Violence Prevention in 2020. The strategy acknowledged and defined effective strategies for the involvement of men and boys in prevention of violence against women and girls. You cannot mount strategies or develop strategies without involving men. We know most of the violence that occurs, over 90% is being perpetrated by men. So you don't have to leave them behind. You have to work with them, you have to be with them so they understand exactly that this is a menace and they should not be involved in this. So they have to also be part of the revolution. The National Sexual Gender-Based Responsive Strategy, adopted in 2021, established of one-stop centers in 7 districts to provide comprehensive and survival-centered medical and physical, psychosocial services, among others. Now, we also set up what we call the 116 toll-free line to facilitate reporting and referral to these one-stop centers. We have reviewed the referral pathway to integrate school-related gender-based violence. The reason for this is when we look at the recent data that we have, most of the incidents occur within school settings. So we have a high number or percentage of school-related gender-based violence. So we have established, working together with the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, to see how much effort we can put together, because this is a multifaceted approach. Only one ministry cannot achieve the desired goal by ending violence against children or women. So we have to have a multi-sectoral approach where every member, every key stakeholder is a member of that steering committee. The judiciary, the police, which is the security sector, we have the military, everybody is there. We have all the line ministries, health, social welfare. All of us are working tirelessly to see how much we can change in the lives of women and children. We have established the sexual offenses model court in Freetown, Kailaun, and Kenema to fast track SGBP case. These are courts that only sitting on sexual offenses case to fast track the process. In addition to the 2 existing safe homes in Freetown and Bombali, you may wonder why an entire country, will have only 2 safe homes. Because these are some of the gaps that we have in addressing issues relating to sexual gender-based violence. In addition to this, there's a safe home presently under construction in the far north in Koinandugu district, Kabbalah town. And also another one is on the way with the implementation of the Spotlight Initiative. This will be established by the Rainbow Center, the Rainbow Initiative, for the implementation of the EU UN Spotlight Initiative in this country. Rolling out the gender-based violence information management system in 3 districts, with plans to expand in additional 7 districts by the end of the year. This is how to help us track data, how to help us track all of this data and see what strategies we'll develop in terms of ending gender-based violence. There's also, I know some of you must have heard the First Lady's Hands Off Our Girls project, which she is using to campaign against gender-based violence against children. This is complementing the efforts of the government and also addressing issues that are also mutilating against women and girls. Launch a nationwide campaign against violence against women and children. And we have had a series of town hall meetings, and we are continuing to have these town hall meetings so that people will understand, even in the local communities, in their local languages, to understand what laws we have and what are the strategies for us to end gender-based violence. There is high-level coordination mechanism established in the National LGBT Steering Committee in every district. So we're working tirelessly around the clock. However, the issues of gender-based violence still persist. For women in politics, because we cannot end this particular discourse without bringing in the women in politics. So I'll just talk briefly about what we call the Network of Women Ministers and Parliamentarians, and also an association of female counselors. This is a structure that is bringing all of the female leaders together to enhance their capacity, to strengthen the already existing capacity, and also help to see how much work they will put into their day-to-day activities so that the women in leadership will be envied. And we have many more women because we know how women frown at politics, especially in Africa, when many a time women, it's difficult for men to survive in the politics. So this particular structure is being established for that. Chairperson, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me, notwithstanding our efforts to address violence against women and girls, and as evident in the aforementioned initiatives, our efforts are dwarfed by the reported high incidences of violence against women and especially girls. Also, this we may also say is because of the awareness raising initiatives that we have worked with, is also giving the people the courage and also for them to understand that they are being protected when they report issues, because many of the violence issues happen mostly within the families and in communities. So people are always afraid to talk about it. But because of the structures that we have, the initiatives that we have launched, the awareness raising, people feel more confident now to report. So hence we are receiving high numbers of reported cases. The One Stop and Rainbow Centers and our offices are overwhelmed with reported cases of rape, sexual exploitation, and other forms of violence against women and girls. Our struggles to prevent and respond to violence against women and girls is not helped by the fact that our society is predominantly patriarchal, with socio-cultural norms and practices that define gender relations, provide the basis for discrimination and violence against women and girls. However, we cannot also talk about violence against women without including violence against women in elections, which I have been involved in all my life. And for us in Sierra Leone, for women to even opt or aspire to be elected, it takes courage, because the puller down syndrome is there, the lack of economic empowerment is there, you are not financially independent. You're not financially dependent. So it becomes a very strong, a big problem for us. During elections, it's difficult for you to see women competing. However, this is beginning to change, and we want to see the momentum increase, because most women are afraid to be attacked and to use abusive language against them. They don't want to be named or framed in politics. So this is why many times they are shying away. This morning I was just coming from a television program, which the question is, are we ready for a woman to be president in this country? And many challenges were mentioned. A lot of interesting discussion came. How ready are we? How supportive are we towards our fellow women? How strong are women's network? What voice and agency do we have so that we'll be able to attack the issues, to be able to compete against our fellow men? Are we ready? This is the question. Is women in Sierra Leone ready? Our sister country, Liberia, they have done it. They had Madam Ellen Johnson Sally. What's the support behind that? Did we as women truly supported her? Look at what is happening in other countries. Are women ready around Africa? Are we ready to take the challenge? These are some of the questions that I believe these discussions will also trigger in the next coming days. Another major challenge is the limited capacity to enforce and implement legislative frameworks and initiatives that prevent and respond to violence against women and girls. Although we have made considerable progress in strengthening institutional infrastructure to prevent and respond to violence against women and girls, there is evidently limited capacity to effectively prevent and respond, especially in remote and out-reach communities. The limited capacity provides an unfortunate opportunity to interference, compromise, and cases of violence against women are also sometimes silenced, because we feel that when we report some of these cases, we feel that we are going against the gods. We feel that we are going against our family. We feel that we are going against the cultures that we represent. For me, I don't see it that way, but this is why many times it's very difficult. We have cases piled up. The only thing that will happen many times is that people compromise within the family setting. And when you compromise, there's not enough evidence for the police or other sectors to take your case and say, this, no, we're going to fight for you. So many times, many of these issues are being compromised and you cannot do anything as maybe the Minister of Gender representing the women and children, because already people feel that I want to protect my family more than protecting this girl who has been raped by a group of men or by one person within the family. So it's a big problem. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, aside our efforts in addressing violence against women and girls, we have made significant gains in legislative frameworks for women's participation and representation in governance and political processes. Credit to His Excellency the President for his unwavering commitment to gender equality and women's empowerment law. The landmark Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act of 2022 was passed to inter alia provide for minimum 30% quota. So today, Sierra Leone is one of those countries that is being envied in the world for that particular quota. So the passage of the Jury Act has significantly increased the number in Parliament from 12.3% in 2018 to 30% in 2023. The cabinet ministers and deputy ministers have also increased. Cabinet ministers is 34.5%, and for deputy female ministers, we have a 36.3%.
Amazing.
One of the significant gains resulting from the GUI Act is the establishment of the gender units within the ministries, departments, and agencies. And thanks to UN Women for their commitment to help us develop what we call an accountability framework. A framework that monitors how gender is being mainstream and gender is also budgeted for. So this is new. These are new initiatives, but we'll make progress, and it's a step in the right direction because we have trained those 28 ministries, departments, and agency gender units for them to understand first the situation at hand, that is the baseline, and then how progressive are we? So we have developed the first draft of the report, which in the coming weeks we'll be able to launch as a country to position ourselves. And from moving forward from next year, we'll see what progress that will make, looking at the strategies that are already employed. Aside from the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act, it was very difficult for women to own property, like land, outside Western, outside where we are. So in 2022 as well, we passed what we call the Customary Land Rights Act, which allows for women in customary setting to own property. Because we all can attest that even when you go to microfinance institutions or credit unions, what most times they ask women for collateral. And the collateral most times is either you have a house or land. So when you don't have them, then it becomes problem. So you do not have access to those credits, making financial inclusion very difficult to achieve. So this law is making it possible that women outside customary settings, in the customary settings, have access to land and ownership, because ownership is very critical. You can have access. If you don't have ownership over that particular property, is what is challenging. So this is also one. We have also the National Elections Act, which also provides for political parties to ensure that at least they provide, they put women in place where people are aspiring. And then another one is the Political Parties Regulations Act, which also asking political parties to give at least a 30% quota, which is the minimum that we're looking for. And I'm happy to say we have got that minimum today, and we're moving forward because that is not all we want. There's a lot that needs to be done because even the population itself, women make more percentage than men. in the population of Sierra Leone. So why not having access to all of these productive resources, to leadership positions, so you are part of the decision-making processes? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before concluding, having provided insights on our efforts in advancing women's rights vis-a-vis legislative actions and initiatives, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that our efforts are inconclusive and require sustainable strategies to address the gaps and challenges to gender equality and women's empowerment. The holding of this conference with focus on reviewing existing frameworks on violence against women and girls, identify gaps, and co-develop a regional advocacy strategy targeted at ECOWAS Parliament is very timely and appropriate. The experience and expertise of our feminist advocates and sisters from Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Liberia is crucial in developing a sustainable sub-regional advocacy strategy that reflects our unique context and experiences. On a final note, I would like to reaffirm the commitment of the government of His Excellency, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, who, as a firm proponent of gender equality, will champion the cause of gender equality during his tenure as president of ECOWAS. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the detailed remark. I know that a number of us had, for the first time, or maybe for the first time, gone through the ferry ride to get to across here, and you must have wondered, why was Sierra Leone the place? Why was Sierra Leone chosen? And for the breakdown from what our minister said, I hope you can hear the achievements they've been able to have as a country. So we've come here so that you can teach us as well, so we can learn, and which is part of what we're doing here majorly, to be seen that we're able to influence these policies across the region so that we have collective growth across the region and not just in individual countries. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So right now, we'll just take in briefly a good message from the UN Women Office here in Sierra Leone. So as I said, they are part of what we're doing here. So let's welcome Program Specialist, Madam Willoughby.
Thank you. Madam Minister, our honorable guest speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to send regards from my head of office, who is unavoidably absent due to last-minute assignment from her own boss, the resident coordinator. However, I would like to, it's my pleasure to add my voice to the welcome. Welcome to Sierra Leone, a country whose capital, Freetown, you must journey air, land, and sea. Your presence here today, especially during the rainy season, is a powerful act of solidarity that reflects your unwavering commitment to ending violence against women and girls, not only in West Africa, but the world over. You know, speaking after the Honorable Minister, it is really difficult because she has gone right into cross the issues. So my statement, my goodwill message, it should be short and sweet. Hopefully. The Honorable Minister said, Sierra Leone has indeed taken bold steps and we've enacted so many laws. These legislative milestones are already transforming lives and amplifying voices, women's voices in various sectors, including leadership and governance. These achievements remind us that progress is possible when we unite across barriers, across sectors and communities. But let us be clear, much more remains to be done. Despite these advances, glaring gaps persist in policy, in implementation, and in societal awareness. Critical issues continue to be overlooked, and many stones remain unturned in our collective efforts to confront the full scope and impact of women's rights, women's and girls' rights. We must move beyond rhetoric. We must commit to sustained, inclusive, and transformative action if we want to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, especially Goal 5. 2030 is 5 years away. I urge us to carry this momentum forward. Let us continue to build safe spaces. Let us strengthen legal protection. Let us know the data, use the data, and let the data inform our programs and policies. We need to empower survivors to lead. Let us challenge harmful norms, invest in education and advocacy, and alleviate youth leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, your presence here today is not just symbolic, it's a testimony of your resolve and your power to drive change. Before I take my seat, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Women in Politics Forum for their outstanding leadership and unwavering commitment in organizing this regional meeting. Your tireless efforts, Madam Ebere, are helping to shape the future where women live free from violence and contribute fully to the growth and prosperity of our nations. We commend your vision, your dedication, and the transformative impact of your work. Together, we can create a West Africa and indeed a world where every woman and girl lives free from fear, violence, and inequality. With solidarity and hope, I thank you.
She did say she was going to make her good news short and sweet, and that's exactly what she did, straight to the point. Thank you very much, Madam Lady, for that. Moving on, we'll still be hearing from two people speaking briefly. And one of the people that we've worked with over the years in partnership on what we call the WVF project, a Women's Voices for Leadership project in Nigeria that we've worked with, is also here. And so she'll be giving briefly a good message for 2 minutes. I'd like us to welcome Madam Bose Ransi. She's the executive director of RA. They've been in this work to end violence against women and work for quite some time, for years now. Thank you very much, Madam Bose. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sisters. Good morning. All protocol legally observed. I want to say that I'm happy to be here. And when I listen to my sister talking about amplifying voices of women, my mind went to the WVF program in Nigeria. Because we need to clap for NLB. Nkechi, time that strategic intervention, but it has changed the narrative in Nigeria.
Yes.
Because for the first time, we weren't just looking at policies, but we saw women at the very grassroots. We didn't have a name. We didn't have, at the very grassroots, we didn't have a name. We didn't have systems in place for taking a lead in driving change at the community level. I, as an individual, has been working in that space for almost 40 years. But I've never seen a strategy, as a feminist, very happy to say, that I haven't seen where you have a grant for 5 years, because that's usually the case. You have a grant that is just 1 year, 2 years, and before you start driving the design, we are just taking the buses. But this is different. 5 good years, giving you time to think within your community, looking at your issues, whether you are in climate change, whether you are in education, whether you are in politics and all that, is a win that have brought me several opportunities to mobilization. So I want to say that Yes, you asked the question, are women ready? When you put that down, I wrote it again. Are women ready for leadership? Yes, women are ready. They are ready. Because if you look at the work my sister here and others have done in Nigeria through the WVLF program, sensitizing, mobilizing women, we realize that there are areas we need to look. I didn't hear in your program or what we have done, maybe I was late, the fact of engaging the men. Okay, so because I always believe for you to take power, you need to go to them and take power. Don't forget they are also victims of the system. In my in my safe space where I interact with survivors of SDBV providing social support, just a few weeks ago, I decided to change it. Just tweak it a little. I decided that men should come for the safe space. You will be amazed what stories and things. And I'm asking myself, if we are going to say we need to take power, we need to be there, then there's something we need to change, tweak a little, to also speak to the men, to go to the schools, to interact with them. Not by, we are not at war. Because I love the fact that families need to be carried out. In short, I just put down families against SGBB. It's going to be a project that I'm going to take along with Nigeria. Because the UVL have set that space where we reached almost about 30,000 women directly. And for me, that is the narrative we must see. So I thank you all. And I think that going forward, more will be done. We need more collaboration. What to say, this is very important when it talks about politics. African women, we are not against ourselves. Even if there is xenophobia in South Africa, there is fight in Ghana. Those are political things. It does not concern us because when the chiefs are down, we pay the price. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I like that we're already getting initiatives of what we could do to work better here. And to round up of the session for Google messages, someone important that's with us also been part of our journey. We call her, we already see her popularly, we call her the lady with the big hair. It's her brand. It's always known, she's always in front, Anita. Someone that has always also been not only to men in politics forum, but women groups and women rights advocates across the country, across Nigeria, and also across the world. Please welcome Madam Enobi. She's also a member of the board for Women in Politics Forum. Oh yes, her birthday too as well.
So we'll sing for her before she speaks.
We'll just sing like 1 minute. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Thanks. We love you, Flex.
But she's a jolly good fellow. But she's a jolly good fellow. But she's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us. And so say all of us. And say all of us. For she's a jolly good fellow. For she's a jolly good fellow. For she's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us.
So much. To Madam Minister, it's a great pleasure to meet you. To the UN Women Representative, what a great pleasure. To the Aluta President, my sister Kwere Ifendo, it's a great pleasure. And to our chairman, what a pleasure. And to the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and to the man among women, Bostino. And Paul, thank you so much. Thank you, my brothers and sisters here. I think it's overwhelming for me, waking up this morning in Sierra Leone, Salud. You know, and to note that I was thinking of the last time that I was here, and that's about 12 years ago. That's the last time, 2013. And I remember that time I spent about 7 weeks working and going to the different districts and training, building capacity on governance, human rights, and so on, because I was then a regional trainer at the MS Training Center for Development Cooperation in Arusha. So I came here to run a training or run some trainings. But before then, I had come to, I was then working with ActionAid, but that was ActionAid Denmark hosting us in Arusha, Tanzania. But I had been working in ActionAid Nigeria. And later, of course, joined ActionAid. I'm the immediate past country director of ActionAid Nigeria. And so I've had a history, both with the country and also with women in politics. So on behalf of the Women in Politics Forum Board of Trustees, I want to say a big thank you to the very distinguished, personalities here, and each and every one of you for leaving your country to come here. It's a good thing that we started with the singing so that it will brighten me, because the issue of gender-based violence is very serious and very, very depressing issue to talk about. And I will talk about it because I'm a human rights teacher of social justice and everything governance, everything gender, I would say. And I had that opportunity to have gone to so many countries. But my time in Sierra Leone also taught us certain things. For ActionAid, a lot of people say they are practicing human rights. But when you go down and say, do you really know what you are practicing? And even all of us. And so I took ActionAid Sierra Leone, the entire staff. When I came, then Mohammed Silla, was the country director. He said, every staff must be trained. And so we took ourselves, and I did a field trip to be with the police, the Sierra Leone police headquarters. And if there is a sect that is so intelligent, don't take them for granted. The police is a very intelligent force. And so I took them on the field trip to the police. And one of the cases, and one of the things we wanted to know was the issue of gender-based violence. And they said, the police was the frustrating one. We wanted to know what the police have been doing. And I'm happy that the minister has rolled out a lot of achievements that they have made so far. So it's gratifying for me to learn that so much steps have been taken. At that time, there was a case study of a woman, which the police were the ones that gave it to us. Because the minister mentioned to say that, when the silence, when the people are not talking, you talk about it. In this particular case, I'm not going to mention the community. I still have it in my head. There was a woman whom the husband had suspected to have maybe committed adultery or had a boyfriend. And I'm sorry that I have to give you the graphic because this is the pain that women go through. The husband used stick to shoot inside her vagina. And that was how, so the community and the neighbors couldn't stand it. That was how they carried the woman to the hospital and to the police. Right. The police force members went crazy. They arrested the man. The bitterness, a lot of them faced a lot of, the morning, so the medicals, of course, they had to pull it out and all of that. Because she had gone through that. The women, the community, the entire community, emptied into the police station the day the white man was going to be prosecuted. And the frustration was they wanted the case to be withdrawn. The community said, we will treat you well. You will do whatever you need to do. Let's go home and settle it. Ladies and gentlemen, if that happened to your sister, what would you do? So you can imagine the police were ready, they have gathered all their cases, they have evidence to take this guy to jail, to take him down. But the community said no. The police went angry, they said you can go to court and go and withdraw the case from the court. But for us, we will not let the case go. The police took the case to court. I don't know what happened thereafter. But that's the police took the case to court. I don't know what happened thereafter. But that's to tell you what happens in many court cases, that it will be the end of the case. I want you to imagine that picture. Another girl again, during that training, this was another one of the human rights training from another side. There was a little girl. The mother had a baby. She was born before the woman got married. And she was at the age of 15 at the time. Now the stepfather slept with the girl.
Oh no.
And then when the girl told the mother, she got pregnant. The girl told the mother said, "You have come to spoil my marriage." I want you to understand that concept from a different level. Many women are powerless. And so the power of taking that decision and the meaning of her life becomes contentious. So there is a lot that leading to that. The girl stayed with her grandmother. The man was taken to court. So many things happened. But the life of the girl child is forever threatened. There have been so many cases like that. A woman complains that the man is committing incest with a child. The community can drive her out and say she's open nonsense, and they will drive her. So the culture of silence. We're mentioning this because coming this far, is a long way. I've had some special relations with some people, my friend, which the minister might know, Gladys Bapi. We were fellow students at the Boya, for West Africa in Cameroon, many, many years ago, before the war in Sierra Leone broke out, and my sister didn't know what to do, where to go. Many of my classmates could not come home. I still remember all of that. And so I remember my time here, for the time that we have spent, and the wonderful things that many are doing here. In watching women in politics, and so much has been done. I remember the doggedness of Barrister Billy Ebere Ifendo. And I want to acknowledge Nkechi. Nkechi, it's a great pleasure to work with you. She's my daughter and my mentee, I would say. And the Women's Voices in Leadership project that they talked about, I was lucky as a country director that project came. It was like that project welcomed me. We dreamed it together, chased it for about a year. And where we eventually, before I departed, we empowered more than 189 women-led organizations. Later, it became almost 233 before the end of that project. We have gotten the funding again by the grace of God, and we are going to double it. We're going to double that. So the women of Nigeria will not have, it's not going to be, it's not a Juguru. But my sister says something, Bosse mentions something about, yes, women are ready, but are they really ready? Is readiness in their hands? I think that's a critical thing. For women in politics, it's a great pleasure, to be here with you. I had to take some decisions this morning, but being in this room is overwhelming. Coming back home. I wouldn't do an emergency meeting, which I could not. I said, no, I'm going to listen to the minister. And I had to listen to my sisters here, because discussing this morning takes me back to the terror. But let me mention one thing before. There was a local government that we went in training, human rights-based approach. I was training in every local government, every district. When training, they were not training just the non-governmental organizations, but the government officials, local government officials on transparency and accountability, anti-corruption, and so on. In one of the local governments, we had a woman vice chairman. In that local government before then, they had about 7 years. We were teaching tax justice as well. It was LBAG, we call it LBAG, Economic Literacy and Budget Accountability for Governance. That's what I came to teach with a crop of facilitators. The local government chairman, the vice chair, at one point, the vice chair decided to go. We know the collection, tax collection and the markets. It brings in a lot of resources. But the agents in between take all the money and somebody doesn't get money. And so this woman did something very unique. She decided to go to the market, that very market, and sit for 1 week. Within 1 week, they could not believe the kind of resources that was coming to the local government. She pulled that back and they paid all the backlog of the salaries they were owing the local government, and the place became very efficient. And we were looking at alternatives and all of that. Women have the capacity, but the opportunities are very few. They lead on their women have the capacity, but the opportunities are very few. They lead on their way. It's very, very, it's something that is a stumbling block. But I want to say that I've seen the power. A lot of women are very, very powerful in Sierra Leone. It's not easy to be there. They have come a long way. They will continue, and Nigeria has a lot to learn from you. Because we can't say we are all knowing. We have governments in places. We have some of the most powerful civil society in Africa, like Uganda and other places. Yet their president is about 92, or is it something? And also in Cameroon, and they can't move because the political class has placed a hit on what we do, and we can't move forward for the women. I refer to what Bosse says about, women not against women. They may not be directly against women, but we need to deal with the women agency. We need to build unity. No jealousy, because the tribe of women is humanity. Women have no tribe. Their tribe is humanity. And so let's move ahead. I want to say because the tribe of women is humanity. Women have no tribe. Their tribe is humanity. And so let's move ahead. I want to say a very big thank you for what you have done so far, Madam Minister. Continue to inspire the younger ones, both the younger and the old, because it's intergenerational, what you have been able to do. To you and women on this collaboration, we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you have done so far and what we'll be doing with you. And to our brother, chairman from Wademos, for being there through all the life of Women in Politics Forum. We are grateful. We are going to higher heights. I can tell you that we'll go higher. My sister Iberi, it's a great pleasure. I didn't want to be pulled away from my family during this birthday particularly, but I said, I am home too. And I do have a son in Sierra Leone. I have children in different parts of the world. I can tell you that in my course of work, that I have been able to build. But I'm happy to be here with you. And I'm looking forward, because I was coming into Sierra Leone and I told my son I was coming on Tuesday. Apparently he was on holiday in the UK and also came in yesterday. So I will be seeing my son today. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I think for her, it's specific that we're able to hear the power of coalition building. And really, that's what the ACT project is about. So the major donors for the project are European Union and UN Women. And they came together to see how not just in Western Central Africa, also in the East Africa, also something similar is happening. Women building, empowering women-led civil society organizations to address the issues of violence against women and girls in our continent. And so part of what we did for the project, we had a research across the West African region, but we focused on Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Nigeria. And we were able to have a bit of what we'll be looking at in the course of this program. And for now, to enter into the next part, that would be the ending of the opening part of before we get into the technical session, giving the keynote address. Keynote addresses are usually kind of like the highlights of the because it's although we've had a lot of highlights from every person that has stood here to speak, maybe except from me, but I'm still coming up. I'm up. Patient with me. So please, I want us to put our hands together as we welcome Mr. Peter McMahon, the Vice Chair for International Democrats Union, as we begin the keynote address on ending violence against women and girls in West Africa, a collective imperative from the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Faith. You are doing a good job. Great. It's morning in Sierra Leone, good morning, everybody. And then I like to stand on existing protocol. I've heard Madam Minister's speech, wonderful piece. I've heard the UN and the couple, Madam Pedro. And I'm so fascinated to pass this conference. Particularly, it's taking place in Sierra Leone because by 2022, Sierra Leone women and girl child activities were quite low. But when they enacted the gender equality and empowerment, it has spread them all to higher levels that other ECOWAS and African countries learn from enemies. I've been a chairman of my party, the New Patriotic Party, and the president, John Kufuor in Ghana, and the president recently, until recently, when we were going into one of our elections, I tried to find a mechanism of giving women an opportunity to have some seats that are very easy for them to participate on their own. And I took that matter to my National Executive Committee. And they said, Mr. Chairman, so the constituencies that are our strongholds, you want to give some of them to only women. You can do that. The women must compete. And they threw me away. That agenda that I brought to the assent to the National Executive. Not sure that. But I learned from that. That if we are to achieve that in Ghana, it shouldn't be a party matter. It should be at the national level matter, like how the people of Sierra Leone have done it, because they made the law national. And when the law is made, everybody, every organization, political parties, society, independent Ghanaian, was okay. So I keep telling people at various forums when I'm asked, what did you do when you were chairman for the women? And I said, the matter has gone beyond individual political parties. It is now at the level of the National House of Representatives or Parliament or whatever. And that's the route which Sierra Leone has taken. And within just 3 years, from 2022 to now, look at the levels that they have shot. And I think I must commend them and thank them for it. Today, we are here under the auspices of advancing regional action to end violence. Yes. This is a fourth where we're going to fulfill advancing. We want to advance the region because if Sierra Leone has done it, what can we learn from it? Such that violence against women and girls in our communities, in our economies, is less than and I'm so happy Madam Minister is here. He spoke about how young activities or female activities, activists in the political circles, giving all manner of needs, frustrations, and challenges, financial, cultural, internet abuse, etc. But Sierra Leone has made it itself too. If you look at the numbers that the minister sharing out this morning, it's quite impressive. I think we must learn this opportunity, which Women in Politics Forum, under the able leadership of Madam Eperi doing needs a commendation. It is she must be highly commended because violence against women and girls remains a significant challenge for West Africa, with profound effects on individuals, families, and communities. Ghana has what we call interstate succession laws, so that men or women who will not make a will and they die in the state, how their estates should be shared. You know, some parts of Ghana, including my own tribe, we succeed matrilineal. So if you go and marry and you don't do a will, when you die, your properties are going to your parents, your siblings, etc. They won't go to your children and your wife. So it's important that in our country, matrimonial, because we succeed mothers, brothers, you don't succeed fathers. You have to get, and the wills were not forthcoming and people were dying. So in 1987, an interstate succession law was passed. But it is still, there are some challenges with the law. And I think a forum like this is one area where I said very later I'll invite you to Accra to come and find a way, a structured way, a research way that we can deal with some of the challenges associated with the interstate succession law. Because families, particularly women and girls, are suffering that gaps such needs. Violence against women and girls is rare in our region. There was evidence that government and other state aspects have invested resources, human, financial, in preventing and responding to violence. I think the Honorable Minister and Madam Emeopli and the previous speakers have mentioned a lot of these examples. We must take these opportunities to network, cross-fertilize ideas so that at the end of today's conference, we will be able to get a comprehensive steps to abate some of the violence against women and girls. Across sub-Saharan Africa, the basic issues of violence against women and girls concerns cultural, economic, and regional boundaries, reinforcing systemic gender inequalities. Despite the existence of laws like Ghana has the Domestic Violence Act, enforcement, and Madam Minister mentioned it, enforcement remains erratic, leaving vulnerable women at risk. Statistics reveal that nearly 1 in 3 Ghanaian women will experience intimate partner violence throughout their lives. I think it's a glaring example of what Madam Ene said. The persistent violence not only inflicts profound harm on individuals, but also cripples national development efforts by undermining women's health, hindering educational achievement, and curtailing their participation in workforce. In turn, these factors strain governance structures and hinder societal progress. We have a long way to go, but Rome was not built in a day, and I'm happy that we have started on the right have and write notes, and we will certainly get there. Inadequate enforcement, as has been mentioned, remains a significant barrier. Therefore, there is the need for an entire prevention and also prevention to response continuum, ensuring that resources, which is one critical area that various actors need to be able to stop some of these malpractices against women and girls, violence especially. You need resources to be able to challenge these things, to be able to stop these things, to be able to abate some of these things. In Ghana, there's something dirty going on in the form of what we call witch camps. I don't know whether it's only women who could be witches. So men cannot be witches. So
Wizards.
So there is a camp where especially old ladies are sent there because some people think that their progress in life has been hampered by these witches. I mean, these efforts to stop this, though continuing, needs to be deep. And I think an educational information and other forms of training will help reduce and abate so that we can keep these witches away from the camps and send them back to their homes. But it's resources. We need resources to be able to take them from the camps that only women witches. I'm yet to see a man who's a witch, but the men are also witches. So these are some of the things that a meeting like this is supposed. So the previous speakers have done well. The thing that women in political forums have said already must be commended for putting together with their sponsors, the UN and others, in bringing this forum together to address this peculiar threat that is there. Violence against women and girls, and that there's a need to advance a regional action, both in regional, sectorial, ECOWAS, perhaps AU action against the advancing of putting an end to violence against women and girls. It is my cherished hope that this conference will build a sub-regional coalition within the ECOWAS. Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Togo, Nigeria, all must come together and build a strong coalition of women rights activists and young feminists committed to a unified campaign to eliminate violence against women and girls. By so doing, we should also strengthen the scene to that effect. In between the conferences, there will be a lot of direct chats. Miss NLB is here, Madam Ministers, their email address, and how they were able to achieve GEA. We need to know more about it because it's something that is needed in other parts of ECOWAS. And as I have said already, Sierra Leone must be commended for that. So it is my hope that at the end of the day, we will be able to come up with clear guidelines and steps to abate the violence against women and girls, courtesy Women in Political Forum. Thank you all. Women in Political Forum. Thank you all.
Now that you paid my, I'm sure people now know why it's my chairman. I don't know about you, Joe. Thank you very much, and thanks to everyone that has spoken. I will be taking our group photographs now. And while we are taking our group photographs, I just want you to get to know the name of someone that is not sitting next to you. Of someone that's not sitting next to you. I saw somebody trying to look at the person sitting next to you. Let's go. So we'll be taking our group photograph and we'll be taking in front of Ghana here. Just quickly, briefly, those of us online are streaming live. Sorry you cannot join us, but we acknowledge you. Because so we have our photos and logos for all our donors. So please, we'll do a little arrangement right now. We would have some people seats while we have other stands so that we could have a collection. And then we'll go to the presentation of the research and then have tea break. Thank you for your wonderful participation. So please let's put a round of applause for our outlook. Let me get that. We'll take our pictures. Thank you.
Yeah, so the solution
Is it good now?
What are the key now?
That's what I
I
mean.
would say no if you will in that. No, no need.
For the picture,
I ain't
that's
challenge.
what just here.
Hey, get away. Sure, hand. Go disappear. Yeah.
Okay, yes, okay. I'll get to this. So can you have money for it?
Talk to him.
Okay, sorry, a brief change. We'll be having the pictures outside. I understand that this space might not be quite here anymore. Sorry, and I can see this team already started arranging. Don't worry, we'll give you a prize for being active. So yes, I think we should have it. Although we'll come back later to the hall and then have pictures in sections. But the group photograph, please let's just go outside. You can follow me and we'll take pictures. Oh yes, we'll close the door. We'll have someone take us. Extension box, Sabi. The problem is the extension box.
I think someone was trying to find all the snake is no, there's already lady sitting there would have just sorry.
I want to watch just on the same thing.
What you know, just
They expect me to go. No, it's not free. Maybe can you charge? No, it's I'll go to okay.
No, I know. I know.
Chair. Which one? Didn't like chair. That's you. I was like, I didn't you start.
Yes. What the? Build unity. Stand together as friends. I saw you here.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to ask us questions or you want us to? Because it's self-reflection, so my reflection is what I'm talking.
Yes, I will ask you question. You will lead the. I just prompting questions. You people are trying your reflections. I would even
What did you
ask questions
see?
around
From
how
reflection.
difficult it was, how
No,
easy or
no,
difficult the
let's go to the
process
start.
for data.
What are the issues?
No, let's go.
Data collection.
Okay, I won't go there.
If you
Collection
go
is
to
an
data
issue.
No,
collection,
it will
what
take
there are the
into
issues that came up. So, for instance,
go to reflection. What is my
yes,
reflection?
what is a
So I will
reflection?
tell you first of all my reflection
Yeah.
broadly.